We mentioned some policies that the Biden administration is doing that are commendable. Certainly the change in policy about allowing asylum seekers in the country, reprehensible, and I hope it gets overturned. The ACLU is pursuing a legal case against it. And from what I've read, in response to the backlash from that, Biden has unveiled this policy. Let's let him talk about this parole in place policy, which is going to impact up to 550,000 either people married, immigrants married, undocumented immigrants married to a U.S. citizen, or the kids of an undocumented immigrant married to a U.S. citizen.
For those wives or husbands and their children who have lived in America for a decade or more but are undocumented, this action will allow them to file a paperwork for legal status in the United States, allow them to work while they remain with their families in the United States. Let's be clear, this action still requires undocumented spouses to file all required legal paperwork to remain in the United States. It requires them to pass the criminal background checks, and it doesn't apply to anyone trying to come here today. It only applies, this action is a better way. It doesn't tear families apart while requiring every undocumented spouse to fulfill their obligations under the law. Look, the actions I'm announcing today will go into effect later this summer. And by the way, just as was true for the protection of dreamers, the steps I'm taking today are overwhelmingly supported by the American people, no matter what the other team says. In fact, polls show over 70% of Americans support this effort to keep families together.
You get a little glimpse of what the theory is here by the administration. Now, first off, it is a huge, huge life-changing event for 500,000 people. So it's a very big deal. There are also, as a political matter, when you are looking to win Arizona and Nevada and the polls are against you, you're going to impact the lives directly of like close to 10,000 in each state.
Yeah.
Supposedly. So that's going to make a big deal. But what I've read now is that the Biden people are thinking like this is going to allow Biden during the first debate to create some type of distance between Trump and Biden's policies in immigration, because Biden's border policy, not identical to Trump's, but pretty close. And this one is going to allow Biden to basically say, we're protecting families that exist.
But we're closing the border.
We're closing the border. And it's going to allow him to sort of like have his, provide some of his sort of like xenophobia and whatnot in terms of the border. But then he's going to be able to turn around and say, people can make their own assessment as to what the value of the trade-off here. But he's going to turn around and say, and unlike you, separated families, I am keeping 1 million families intact.
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
but I'm closing the border to stop the hordes of people coming. This is classic Biden centrist triangulation.
Yeah.
Right? Where he can craft that narrative at the debate. That's also, I would say, the impetus for this push for the ceasefire at the same time as well, where he can say, I've got this under control by next Thursday.
Yeah, good luck.
I mean, well, he's botched it up to this point, but that is really, I think, like the move that we're going to start to see now, where he wants to be able to, at the 11th hour, say, I've done all of these things and differentiate himself from Donald Trump, from the center to the crazy.
This is going to, I mean, I think like, once he's in a position to make this distinction, we'll see. But the other thing that bothers me, this is a tiny thing, but why is he referring to the Republicans as the other team? This is so anachronistic. Isn't there anybody on his staff who can say, President Biden, I just want you to know, it is not 1995.
Yeah.
We don't have to not, like, all of the media training at that time was you don't refer to the Republicans by name.
Meanwhile, they're like, Democrat, rat.
I
Do you
mean,
hear rat?
I call them the loony lying left liberal Democrats.
Socialist,
And
communist.
like Donald Trump being like so polite, like, if you listen to the other team, they're not going to tell you the truth about this. I mean, it's just.
I mean, MAGA Republicans is even an extension of that, right? You could have just called them Republicans, but it's like, I don't want to demonize all
call them
Republicans.
conservative extremists, Republicans. I mean, it's just all. I mean, like the other team.
And he's so
come on.
disinclined to name them usually. There are sometimes where he'll go out for like Ron Johnson or Marjorie Taylor Greene, but like even he's sometimes disinclined to mention people who have touted his programs from the Inflation Reduction Act. He's like, I have a list of them. I'm like, read them name by name.
Of course.
Like, literally take 10 minutes and name all of them for taking credit for stuff that they didn't vote for.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.